with the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, leaving out the rest, including those affiliated with the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, KUCO, KUCO. This has far-reaching implications as it places an unfair financial burden on millions of Kenyans, especially in rural areas who have to pay cash to access healthcare services as trusted health facilities operated by the excluded clinic officers. In the statement, the committee should explain the criteria used by the SHA to empanel clinical officers and their respective facilities, addressing the concerns that only clinical officers affiliated with KMPDU as recognized. And number 2, outline any measures in place to ensure that all qualified clinical officers and their respective health facilities are empaneled to facilitate seamless access to healthcare services across the country by everyone registered with SHA. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next is Senator Samson Chalagay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, request for a statement on the heated verbal exchange and altercation between employee of Kenya Airways KQ and a Nigerian passenger. Mr. Speaker, sir, I raise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Trade, Industrialization and Tourism regarding the heated verbal exchange and altercation between the employee of Kenya Airways KQ and Nigerian passenger at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport JKIA on 3rd February 2025. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should 1. Explain the circumstances that led to the heated verbal exchange and altercation between an employee of KQ and Nigerian passenger at JKIA on 3rd February 2025. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, provide an update on investigations into the matter, explaining what is being done by the government and the KQ to ensure the incident does not cause the airline to be blacklisted or subjected to fines by other jurisdictions. So, Speaker, sir, number 3, report on the allegations by the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, that KQ has a long-standing pattern of mistreatment towards Nigerian passengers, which could result in a diplomatic row between Kenya and Nigeria. So, Speaker, sir, number 4, explain actions taken by the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, KCAA, and KQ to ensure airline staff at JKIA and other airports across the country work in a safe and dignified environment. And finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, outline actions being taken to mitigate the potential impact of the incident on the attainment of Kenya Airways KQ strategic objectives as details in its strategic recovery project, named Project Kifaru. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next is Senator James Romene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I stand on a request for a statement on the construction and upgrade of vital roads in Turkana County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing regarding the construction and upgrade of Lomut Lokwamosing, bracket B18, and Ginyang Lokori Lokicher Road, bracket A10, roads in Turkana County. Mr. Speaker, sir, these roads are vital for opening of Turkana County to the rest of Kenya and play a key role in facilitating access to market, health care, education, and other vital services for the Turkana people. Despite their importance, these roads are still earth roads in many sections and are often rendered impassable by heavy rains. In the statement, the committee should, 1, explained delay in implementing the Ginyang-Lokori Lokicher A10 and Lomut-Lokwamosing B18 road construction projects, whose designs were completed in 2013 and 2016 respectively. 2. Clarify whether the update of tender documents, design review and review of the environmental and social impact assessment and economic feasibility study reports for the project has been done, and if not, provide timeline within which this will be done. 3. Provide a timeline for the commencement and completion of the projects, outlining measures put in place to ensure timely implementation. And 4. Outline any steps the government is taking to address the potential adverse impacts of the projects as identified during the environmental and social impact assessment.
You have two statements.
Yes, sir.
Proceed and read the other one.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I request a statement on surging waters of Lake Turkana in Turkana County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations regarding the effort caused by surging waters of Lake Turkana in Turkana County. Mr. Speaker, sir, the alarming rise in water levels in Turkana County has submerged homes, roads, schools, and health facilities, displaced countless families, destroyed farmlands and grazing areas, and disrupted livelihood dependent on fishing and trade. Additionally, the increased presence of crocodiles has turned the lake into a danger zone with multiple fatal attacks reported. It is deeply concerned that despite the severity of crisis, no comprehensive assessment report has been presented by the relevant authority. The Kenya Meteorological Department has yet to provide an updated advisory on factors contributing to this unprecedented rise. Similarly, the National Disaster Management Authority has remained unresponsive, failing to deploy necessary emergency response measures, thus leaving residents vulnerable. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should, 1, provide a report on the causes of rising water levels in Lake Turkana and the proposed mitigation measures. 2, direct the National Disaster Management Authority to offer emergency relief, relocation plans, and protective measures for affected persons. And finally, outline the measures in place to prevent future environmental hazard leaks to rising water bodies. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Okay. Senator Seki, Orekanar.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. A request for a statement on recruitment discrepancies in the 2023 Kenya Defence Forces recruitment exercise. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations regarding a irregularity observed during the 2023 Defense Forces recruitment exercise, particularly affecting Ruben Ngige Modhoni, ID number 36754818, a resident of Ngaimurunya Ward, Kajiado North, Sub-County, Kajiado County. Mr. Speaker, sir, during the recruitment exercise at Ngong Stadium, the complainant was shortlisted and issued with a confirmation letter to report to the recruitment center. However, despite having his biometric and identification documents taken, he has never received any further communication nor has his identification card been returned. In the statement, the committee should provide a list of candidates by name, nationality, nationality card, home county, and sub-county who were selected across all recruitment centers during the 2023 National Recruitment Center in the country. Obtain and review the final list of successful candidates who have completed training at the Defense Academy, including details of their respective posting. Cause an inquiry into circumstances under which the complainant was issued with a recruitment letter differing in content from that of his peers, particularly regarding the acknowledgement of ID and ID card retentions, and examine the protocol followed during the collections of identification documents and fingerprints, and determine whether the procedure was informally applied to all candidates. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The statement by Senator Milaj Abdullahi, she has delegated that responsibility to Senator Minda Kibwana, and also Senator Geduku has done the same to Senator Minda. So, Senator Minda Kibwana, you read the statements. The statement, one statement for Senator Miraj, and the two statements for Senator Joseph Geduku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll start with the statement for Senator Miraj regarding the alleged theft of Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA revenue stamps. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget regarding the alleged theft of 9,686,358 excise duty stamps from the custody of the Kenya Revenue Authority, KRA. Mr. Speaker, sir, this alarming incident has put the spotlight on issues like consumer safety, public health risk, tax evasion, and market integrity, raising urgent concerns about the proliferation of counterfeit goods. It should be noted that counterfeit excise duty stamps allow illicit trade to flourish, affecting not only the economy but only the well-being of Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, sir, this House will appreciate that the alleged theft revenue stamps at KRA is not an isolated case. In September of 2024, hundreds of title deeds were stolen from the government printer by unknown persons. As we speak, no further information has been provided regarding the outcome of the investigations and the mitigation put in place to avoid recurrence, or whether investigations were carried out at all. Most unfortunate at all, no officer has taken responsibility for the haste. In the statement, the committee should investigate and report to the Senate the possible existence of tax evasion ring that may have infiltrated the Kenya Revenue Authority KRA systems, putting into jeopardy the government's tax collection measures. Number two, outline any measures by KRA to mitigate the infiltrations of its system that is prone to sabotage, resulting in flooding the Kenyan market with counterfeit dangerous goods that have adverse health risks to Kenya. And number three, furnish the statement with a report regarding the safety of goods sold in the market, any firewalls erected by the KRA against tax cheats, and most importantly, the actions that will be taken against the masterminds of the haste, as well as any strategies to guard against a repeat of a similar occurrence in future. Senator Miraj Abdallah, nominated senator. I'll proceed with two statements for Senator Githuku, Lamu Senator. One is regarding the status of early childhood development education and technical and vocational education and training, TVET in Lamu. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the status of implementation on early childhood development education, ECDE, and technical and vocational educational and training, TVET, in Lamu County. In the statement, the committee should provide an update of the total ECDE enrollment rates in Lamu County and estimated cost of providing adequate school infrastructure and learning materials for ECDE centers from year 2022-2023 to date. Outline number 2, outline the annual budgetary allocation of the education sector from financial year 2022-2023 to date, specifying the allocation and expenditure for ECDE programs, county vocational training centers, and the recently scrapped county bursaries and scholarships. Number 3, state measures taken by the county government of Lamu to ensure ECDE learning environments are adequately resourced with teaching and learning materials as well as necessary facilities to support a conducive learning atmosphere. Senator Joseph Githuku, Senator for Lamu County. Number 2, it's regarding the operationalization of Kiongwe and Mikinduni dispensaries in Lamu County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Health regarding the operationalization of Kiongwe and Mikinduni dispensaries in Lamu County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide details on the state Kiongwe and Mikinduni dispensaries in Lamu County, explaining why the dispensaries are still non-operational despite completion of construction works. Number 2, set when the dispensaries will be made operational, outlining measures put in place by the county government of Lamu to ensure that the dispensaries are adequately staffed with qualified medical personnel and provide with the necessary medical equipment and supplies. Number 3, explain what the county government is doing to ensure that residents of Kiongwe and Mikinduni areas have access to quality healthcare services as provided for all in Article 43(1)(a) of the Constitution, pending the operationalization of the dispensaries. Senator Joseph Githuku, MP Senator for Lamu. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, good. Next is Senator for Taita Taveta County, Senator Jones Mwaruma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Please allow me to seek this statement on behalf of Senator Mwaruma.
Okay, proceed.
Senator Mwaruma has 2 statements. 1, requests for a statement on the status of compensation for victims of human-wildlife conflict. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53.1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Lands, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the status of compensation for victims of human-wildlife conflict in Taita Taveta County. Mr. Speaker, sir, during a ceremony held on 12th July 2023 at Voi in Taita Taveta County, the then Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife, Honorable Penina Malonza, announced that the government had released Kenya shillings 908 million to compensate victims of wildlife-related accidents across the county. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide a report on all claims concerning human-wildlife conflict from 2014 to date, including details on the nature of claims, incident dates, claim submission dates, amounts claimed, and payment dates, while also clarifying on the disbursements of Kenya shillings 51.1 million allocated to 350 victims from Taita Taveta County. Specify the standard duration of claim settlement and outline measures to be taken against the Kenya Wildlife Services if payments exceed the stipulated period. Number 3, present an update on all payment and pending claims, reasons for non-payment, and the expected timelines for settling outstanding claims. And number 4, provide a status report on the Kenya shillings 322 million previously promised to settle claims dating back to the 1990s and the progress of the Wildlife Compensation Insurance Program, highlighting the annual budget allocation for compensating victims of human-wildlife conflict. Senator Jonis Maruma, MP, Senator for Taita Taveta County. The second statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, is a request for statement on boundary alteration between Taita Taveta and Kajiado counties. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations concerning the alteration on 4th day of July 2020 of the boundary between Taita Taveta County and Kajiado County at Rombo Ranch in Taita Taveta County by the county governments of Taita Taveta and Kajiado County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, explain whether due process and the rule of law were followed in the alteration of the said boundary and provide details of any registered boundary dispute that informed the boundary alteration. Number 2, submit copies of the public participation exercise as envisioned in the Article 232(1)(d) of the Constitution, which informed the decision, including the names, national identity card numbers, dates, and venues where the exercise was conducted in the 2 counties of Taita Taveta and Kajiado. Number 3, confirm whether the boundary realignment and alteration are legally binding and outline the steps required to revert the original boundary demarcation if necessary. Number 4, disclose whether the changes were deposited at the Survey of Kenya offices, the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission, and other related bodies. And number 5, recommend appropriate remedial steps in the boundary alteration is found to have been conducted unlawfully. Senator Jones Maruma, MP. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next is Senator Richard Onyonka. You have 2 statements.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I requested a statement on the delayed payments to facilitators of the 2024 Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education, that is KCSE examinations in Kisii County and the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the delayed payments to supervisors, invigilators, and examiners of the 2024 Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education examinations. Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should, 1, provide reasons for the delay by the Kenya National Examination Council, NEC, to pay these supervisors, invigilators, and examiners who are engaged in the administering and marking of the 2024 KCSE examination, and particularly specifying the actions being taken to resolve this issue. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, the committee should indicate when the said facilitators will receive their outstanding dues and all other non-paid dues. Number 3, the committee should outline measures in place by the Ministry of Education and the Kenya National Examination Council to prevent occurrence of similar delays in the near future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my second statement is a request for a statement on the status of pension schemes for all former employees of the Kenya Pyrethrum Board, Kenya Medical Research Institute, and all other state corporations. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding the status of pension schemes of former employees of the Kenya Pyrethrum Board, the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, the Technical University of Kenya, Kenyatta National Hospital, and other state departments and corporations. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is imperative that the government fulfills its obligations to retirees of our country who have dedicated their service to this nation. Mr. Speaker, delayed pensions payments and the mismanagement of these retirees' funds has significantly affected their well-being, and many of them, as you may note, Mr. Speaker, are most probably unwell because they are aged and old. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to clarify the pension management framework of former employees of all state departments and corporations, including some of the defunct corporations, indicating whether these schemes are now fully funded or not, and addressing any ongoing disputes which may be taking place right now. And last, Mr. Speaker, on this same matter, I would want the committee to have a remitted pension contribution schedules of these delayed payments of our workers. Number three, I would want the committee to outline any measures the government is taking to ensure that all eligible former employees of our government and state corporations are actually receiving their pensions and benefits without any further delays. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I would want the committee to provide details of any legislative or policy reforms aimed at addressing inefficiencies and gaps in the pension system for employees in our state by the KK government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Next is Senator Professor Tom Ojenda. You have also two statements.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two statements. The first is on fairness, non-discrimination, and due procedure in employment practices at China Square, Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding concerns over alleged unfair labor practices, ethnic profiling, and violation of labor laws at China Square, Kisumu County. Mr. Speaker, while investment in Kisumu County is encouraged, all businesses must comply with the law and uphold fair labor practices, ensuring that employees are treated with dignity, equity, and due process in recruitment, termination, and career progression. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide information on the number of employee complaints received by the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection from China Square, Kisumu, since its establishment and how they've been addressed. 2, confirm whether the ministry has investigated the alleged labor rights violations at China Square, Kisumu, and provide details of their findings. 3, highlight any steps taken to ensure that China Square adheres to the Employment Act 2007, particularly regarding fair treatment, lawful termination, non-discrimination, and promotion of employees. 4, explain the mechanisms in place to protect affected employees from retaliation and ensure that their grievances are fairly resolved. And lastly, state the measures the government is taking to prevent similar labor rights violations by foreign-based businesses operating in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, my second statement is on Miwani Sugar Company and the payment of outstanding salary arrears to workers. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock, and Fisheries regarding the stalled revival of Miwani Sugar Company and the long-standing issue of workers' unpaid salary arrears. Mr. Speaker, Miwani Sugar Company, one of Kenya's earliest sugar mills established in 1922, was placed under receivership in February 2001. This led to the retrenchment of 50 workers. What was initially intended as a temporary 90-day leave has now extended to over 26 years, leaving former employees in financial stress and leaving farmers struggling due to collapse of the sugar supply chain. Despite multiple plans to revive it, protracted legal battles over land ownership, government inaction, and lack of investment have stalled any meaningful progress. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state the total salary arrears owed to former employees of Miwani Sugar Company and indicate a timeline for the payment of the said arrears. 2, assess the socio-economic impact of the prolonged salary delays on the affected workers, their families, and the Miwani community, and outline specific remedial measures being implemented to mitigate these effects. 3, provide an update on the status of legal disputes over land belonging to Miwani Sugar Company and explain any steps the government is taking to resolve these cases to facilitate revival efforts. 4, disclose whether the government has engaged any strategic investor or partners to support the revival of Miwani Sugar and outline the proposed timelines for implementation. And lastly, detailed policy reforms considered in the short, medium, and long term to prevent future mismanagement and ensure the sustainability of the sugar sector in Kenya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. There are 2 statements by Senator Wambua Enoch. Yes, Senator Beatrice. You know I'm posing for you to make some decision, because I can see, you know, the consequences of dropping any business here. You made a resolution in Naivasha. Proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and for allowing me to read this, the request for statement by Senator Enoch Wambua. This is, Honorable Speaker, this is a request for a statement on the status of pending bills in Kitui County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget regarding the status of pending bills in Kitui County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide a report on the total value of pending bills currently owed by the county government of Kitui, specifying the amount inherited from the previous administration. 2, outline the mechanisms in place to verify the authenticity of these bills to prevent fraudulent or inflated invoices. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, provide timelines for the prompt payment of verified bills and explain how the county government plans to prevent the accumulation of pending bills in the future. Senator Enoch Wambua, CBS, MP, Senator for Kitui County. Honorable Speaker, there is a second statement by Senator Wambua. This is a request for statement on the status of health facilities in Kitui County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the status of health facilities in Kitui County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide the total number of health facilities in the county, categorized by classification, and indicate which are operational and which are non-operational. 2, explain the reasons for the frequent shortage of essential drugs and the inefficiencies in their distribution across county public health facilities. 3, list the number of staff working under the county health department with year-by-year data from 2013 to date. 4, outline the annual county budget allocation for the health department from 2013 to date. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, disclose the total amount of revenue generated from health facilities as part of the county's own source revenue from 2013 to date. Senator Enoch Wambua, MP, Senator for Kitui County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
There is also a statement by Senator Beatrice Ogora.
I thank you once more, Mr. Speaker, sir. This is request for a statement on violation of the 1/3 rule on public servants' salaries. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare regarding concerns over tax regimes that have led to a growing trend where public servants are receiving salaries that violate the provisions of the Human Resource Policies and Procedure Manual on the 1/3 Basic Rule. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is growing pressure on public servants due to the mismatch between salary deductions and the legal framework where public servants are receiving salaries that violate the constitutional 1/3 basic salary rule, which is exacerbated by recent tax changes. These tax changes, which include new mandatory contributions, have had a significant impact on the salaries of public employees. Mr. Speaker, sir, over the last 2 years, workers have seen deductions of 1.5% of their gross salary for affordable housing, along with an additional 2.75% deducted for the Social Health Insurance Fund. These deductions, Mr. Speaker, sir, while intended for social welfare programs, have pushed many civil servants below the 1/3 threshold of their basic salary, which is required by Section 3.1.13.3 of the Human Resource Policies and the Procedure Manual of 2016. According to this policy, Mr. Speaker, sir, no employee should commit more than 2/3 of their basic salary. However, the additional taxes and contributions are forcing workers to take home less than they should, leading to a real danger of throwing more people into the poverty net called the working poor, perhaps calling for the need to review existing policies to align them with the new tax realities. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the statement, the committee should, 1, state any measures the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection and Public Service and Human Capital Development have taken to safeguard the financials as well as the psychological well-being of all public servants, including county government workers, whose financial plans are adversely affected by the taxes and levies on salaries that have remained unchanged. And 2, explain the plans in place to cushion police officers, teachers, and all government employees against probable disciplinary actions as a result of being seen to have violated the 1/3 salary threshold as required by the Employment Act. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, state any plans by the ministry to review the existing policies to align them with the new tax realities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
So, Honorable Senators, I want to put the question on the number 8, and then I come back to give a few members to give comments on the statements. So, Clerk, next order.
Order number 8, motion. Variation of the resolution of the Senate on the report of the Committee of Powers and Privileges on the conduct of Senator Gloria Orwoba, MP.
So, Honorable Senators, this matter does not concern counties, and therefore it is a question should be put. But then, Clerk, can you confirm whether we have quorum? It is nowadays a requirement. Okay. Now that we have quorum, Honorable Senators, I put the question that aware that on 20th September 2023, the Senate adopted the report of the Committee of Powers and Privileges on the conduct of Senator Gloria Orwoba, MP, and resolved to suspend the Senator from the precincts of Parliament for the remainder of the second session of the 13th Parliament, which period amounted to 79 calendar days. Cognizant that Senator Orwoba subsequently sought judicial intervention, obtaining a court order and staying the implementation of the Senate's solution until the matter was determined, and the High Court, in its judgment delivered on 15 January 2025, dismissed the petition, thereby reinstating the suspension. Considering that Senator Orwoba has shown a considerable level of remorse, and that following the communication by the Speaker on Wednesday, 12th February, 2025 on the implementation of the resolution of the Senate, on the report of the Committee of Powers and Privileges on the conduct of Senator Ngururia Oroba MP, the Senator was apologetic for her conduct. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 17, 3D and G of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, the Senate resolves to vary its resolution